Alright boys, now with the new Senkaimon tower, we do have a new ticket because this is a hard Senkaimon tower. Keep in mind that this ticket pool that I'm about to show is not 100% confirmed, but supposedly this is looking like what it most likely will turn out to be. If this is the case, this is going to be a really good ticket pool. Now this is sent to me by Aaron. It's not confirmed, it's just what's expected of the ticket. And as you see here, it's pretty much the last 7 times 5, the last 35 characters in the premium pool. We don't know if they're going to decide to throw in seasonals like they did with the one particular ticket that they started releasing. I think it was the point event ticket that they're starting to do that. But either way, we'll see how it goes. Giriko Ginjo just came out. The arena characters with Okiora, Kenpachi, Grimmjow, as well as Byakuya. And of course, the main prizes are going to be Art Book Ichigo and 6th Anniversary Aizen. That being said, this tower is staging up to be one of the hardest towers of all time. And I'm going to do a breakdown, especially talking about what I really dislike about this new tower. Let's just get right into it. Alright, what's going on guys? WeBull's back again. And I wanted to go over this new Senkaimon tower because I think that this tower is actually probably it ruffles my feathers in the wrong way. You feel me? Like, it's really bad. And let's just I'll quickly go into it. Stage 1, and we'll break down the entire tower, but I do want to go over why this tower is, in my opinion, really unfair. Stage 1, weaken, Soul Reaper affiliation only, technique, attribute, damage x3, killer effect times 2. So killer effect's not really going to be all that important. Obviously the enemies are Soul Reapers, so you're going to want a Soul Reaper killer that's also a Soul Reaper. And if the unit's technique, then you deal times 3 damage. This is going to be really good for all these characters. As you see here, these are the perfect. For those that are interested, this is bbs-simulator.com. This is the best website for Bleach Brave Souls. For this Senkaimon, I honestly would probably just try to hold on to the Art Book Ichigo and Kusaka's for later stages, because the stages obviously get harder incrementally. So if you have like Aizen or Toshiro, Tensa, Shunsui, like these characters are gonna be kind of annoying. If you end up not using the Kusaka, Shinji, or this Art Book Ichigo in the later stages, then obviously come back to stage 1 and then just redo the stage. That way you can make your life easier with the clear history in like next month when this comes out, right? Stage 2, melee immunity, killer effect times 3. So killer effect's not really going to be all that important. Soul Reaper affiliation damage times 2, and you don't want to use a character that is a captain because you end up sacrificing way too much damage. Now if you want the killer, these characters do have killer, right? You have Nanao. Honestly, these other 3 characters might not even be able to clear unless you have dupes into them and they're transcended. But Nanao, I feel like she's gonna struggle in a content like the hardest Senkaimon stages tend to have a lot of health. Like this girl has 1.3 million HP. Going under the OK, you have Kisuke. Let me see, she's green. So you have Senna, Mashiro, Kisuke. I feel like Kisuke should do fine here. This Gin should be fine as well. Like ideally you're gonna want someone with killer, but the killer effect is only times 3, so you definitely want to use a Soul Reaper for sure, because you get double damage, right? Killer effect times 5, that's essentially double damage if you have the beginning killer, which is Soul Reaper. So times 5 means instead of plus 20% damage, you're dealing plus 100%, so double damage. Here you're going to want a captain with Soul Reaper killer, so obviously you're going to want to have 5th Anniversary Byakuya, Retsu, as well as Kenpachi, but there's another stage where you might want to use these characters, so I would say either one of these 3 characters should be fine. I would save Byakuya for the later stages because I think there's one with Hollow Killer where you might want to use him in instead. Going into the next stage, we have stage 4, Freeze. Normal attack disabling traps. There are no strong attack disabling traps. I already checked, thank the Lord, because those are really irritating. Heart attribute damage times 2, captain affiliation damage times 2. Obviously if you have an Espada killer, they're going to be dealing significantly more damage, but keep in mind there's no killer effect multiplier here, so you just want to use a character that's a heart attribute with the captain affiliation. So characters like this Byakuya is going to be excellent because of the lacerator skill and all that. Soifon should be dealing plenty of damage. This Toshiro should be good if you have dupes into him. 1 of 5, I don't think so, but going into OK, honestly a lot of these characters will be just fine. You have Zangetsu, Mashiro, Shuhei, Kenpachi, Senjumaru. Like these characters should all perform just fine. Like I said, there's no killer bonus, so you don't really need the killer, but if they're Hard attribute and captain, that's going to be the way to go. Next, stage 5, lacerate immunity. So that's going to stop a few characters from being able to cheese, since you can use any character, but you can still use burn characters, you can still use poison characters, you just can't use lacerate, which I think is fine. Killer effect times 5 is times 2, Arankar affiliation damage times 2, Espada affiliation half damage. So if you use an Arankar that's also an Espada, it pretty much cancels this out, so as long as they have killer, they should be just fine. Going into the perfect characters, you have Edrad. Edrad, he'll be just fine, but if you have characters like Orient Society Nell or this Nell Yell, this Nell's gonna perform just fine because you can just burn him to death, but then you can just use Soifon or any other burn or poison characters that you like to use. Since it's a boss stage, it shouldn't really be all that difficult. It's just pretty much RNG. You can reset the application whenever you don't get good RNG per room, so you can do that. Stage 6, melee immunity, killer effect times 5, so times 2 damage against hollows or soul reapers. Now if you have a character that has hollow and soul reaper killer, you can make use of that. So 5th anniversary Byakuya should be actually really good here. So melee immunity, weaken on the stage. So melee immunity, honestly, if you want to use a character like 5th anniversary Ichigo, you should be just fine here too, because she is a hollow and the enemies are soul reapers. Killer effect, I would probably use like Byakuya or something here. The perfect characters for this are going to be Machine Society Retsu as well as Shunsui, so those characters are going to be the go-to. If you have them, great. But the okay characters, you can make use of 5th anniversary Byakuya or Retsu if you're not fortunate enough to have these characters. Honestly, Spiteful Society Byakuya should be just fine here as well. Hollow killers should be good too, but I mean, it is what it is. Next, stage 7, power attribute damage times 2, killer effect times 2, Arankar affiliation damage times 2. So you're going to want to use a power attribute Arankar unit. Killer effect times 2 means that it's not going to be all that special, but Arena Grimjaw is going to be the go-to, as well as Can For Your Own World Cannon Nell. But you definitely want to use a power attribute Arankar affiliation unit, even more so than killer. Killer is only times 2, so Arankar affiliation, a power attribute Arankar. So like Salaporo should be good here, Dordoni, Okiora. These characters are probably going to need a lot of transcendence in order to actually do well. Okiora should be fine. Alright, next. Killer effect times 5, human affiliation. Here you're going to want to use characters like Uryu, which is the only character that's actually perfect for this stage. Obviously the enemies are going to be hollow, but you can also make use of Raruka, more Rarukas, Orihimes. Honestly, Orihime should be just fine here. This Raruka won't have Disabler against the Ichigo, but being able to freeze him and push him back with her first strong attack honestly should be able to bait out his special move without taking damage, which is good, so just keep that in mind. Tech Orihime, I don't even think that'll be playable. Going into hard, you get a lot more characters, but like hard is usually like stupid and is more annoying than anything else. Like human affiliation damage times 2, killer effect times 5. Killer effect with Soul Reaper Killer is good. So if you have a character with Hollow and Soul Reaper Killer, like this Gin, actually I think he should perform incredibly well, even though he's not Hollow, because you get double damage on the Hollow Killer and you get double damage on the Soul Reaper Killer. So actually this Gin is going to be great. Nemu should perform just fine here, as well as this Shuhei. Alright, here we go. So stage 9, Soul Reaper affiliation only, hard attribute damage times 2, killer effect times 3, so you're definitely going to want to use a heart unit more so than killer. Going into the perfect, you have Aizen. Obviously Aizen is going to demolish this entire stage, but characters that you can use on the side, Rukia, Desert Society Rukia, Kenpachi. Most people are going to be going for Desert Society Rukia and Kenpachi in general, or should have Yoruichi or Kenpachi just because they've been bonus so often. So honestly, I don't think that this is too bad of a stage. Going into here, you have Yamamoto, Byakuya, Lisa, Mashiro. Lisa and Yamamoto characters that you probably summoned for, Shuhei as well. So I feel like you get a lot of options here. You care more about using a Soul Reaper that has a heart attribute more so than killer, just because the killer multiplier is not that special. Resistance to all status elements. Now here's where stuff gets kind of interesting, because Caleb is starting to give immunity to these characters, right? So resistance to status ailments, and it is a boss stage. Killer effect times 5, so you're going to want to use a no affiliation killer. Arankar affiliation damage times 2, so the only good character here, quote unquote, is going to be Grimjaw. Keep in mind that Grimjaw also has the read dodges, so you might want to save him for other stages if that's the case. But honestly, he's going to be the perfect character to use. However, since resistance to all status elements, you're going to definitely want to use an Arankar unit, and if you can get killer, great. If you can't get killer, oh well. Characters like Loopy, I think Loopy should perform incredibly well, even though he doesn't have the proper attribute against these characters. But like I said, since you only really care about the killer and the Arrancar affiliation, any no affiliation killer with the Arrancar affiliation should be fine. So this Noitora should be good, even though he can't proc Lacerate. This Loopy should be good, even though he can't proc I think he has Lacerate too. I think he has Lacerate or Weaken. I think he has Weaken, but I keep thinking it's Lacerate. Oh yeah, he has Weaken. And then this Loli, I believe she has no affiliation killer as well, and then she burns, right? But like, since you can't call status elements, I think that those characters are going to be like kind of like the go-to. Honestly, this character, he has no affiliation killer, but he's crap, so you don't definitely don't want to use him. So yeah, that's stage 10. The resistance to status elements is kind of interesting. Here, immunity to paralysis, speed attribute, captain affiliation. Here's honestly where I think you're definitely going to want to just use 5th anniversary Byakuya. The later these stages get, the more tanky these characters get as well. So you have a lot of Soul Reapers, and then on top of that you also have the Ichigo with 1.5 million HP. Kenpachi, Retsu should perform incredibly fine. Just like honestly, if you don't have any of these characters, Cacao Society, Byakuya, Movie, Toshiro, these characters should be able to clear, but you might have a little bit of trouble. Jushiro might be able to just stomp, because you're getting speed attribute captain affiliation. So as long as the character that you're using is speed attribute with captain, killer doesn't necessarily matter as much. So as long as the character is really strong, you should be just Gucci. So Jushiro I think will be great. Ishin should be good here, as well as Redux Toshiro. Yeah. This Yamamoto should be fine too. Anything that's a speed captain should be good. Next, burn, melee immunity, and killer effect ×5. Baz B. This one I feel like is kind of annoying because like the only perfect character is Soden Shirayuki, but honestly if you go into the OK list, you also see Kisuke, you see Kiryu, you see Rangaku, you see Isane, Shunsui. You might have used Shunsui for an earlier stage, but Shunsui's still really good here if you want to use him instead of on that stage. Like say you have Machine Society Retsu and Shunsui, you might want to use Machine Society Retsu there, bring Shunsui here. If you don't have Soden Shirayuki, then obviously you're going to want to use these characters anyways, but yeah. Normal attack disabling traps, I'm fine with that. You usually want to use your strong attacks anyways. Soul Reaper affiliation damage ×2. A fifth of your damage if you're using a captain, and then killer effect ×3. So obviously you want to use a Soul Reaper, don't want to use a captain, and if you have a Rancor killer, great. If you don't, then it doesn't really matter all that much. Characters like Senna, Cayenne, actually this Ichigo should be just fine, but under OK you'll see here you'll get access to like Art Book Ichigo, which should perform incredibly good here. You have Nanao, Kusaka, so Senbon Sakura, Nemu, Shinji. So if you want to use those characters, like they should perform incredibly well here. And honestly the later the stages, like he has 1.5 million HP as opposed to floor 1 I believe, where they have 1.3 mil. So like whether or not you want to use those characters then and there, you can use them whenever you feel like you actually need it. Now here's where here comes the controversy of where I get upset with how they made this. Now, Iceberge of Perseverance, stage 14. Many enemies that can dodge, heart attribute damage, killer effect ×2, and if you're human, even better, you get ×2 damage. So you want a human affiliation unit that is also heart attribute, so characters like Masaki, even though you don't have killer, you'll get access to ×4 damage, and then the killer effect is literally only multiplied by 2, so you're not really missing out on too much damage, right? So the perfect character for this is actually going to be the new Chad. You can use Veruca as well, because she does have Soul Reaper killer and she also is a human. But the thing is, this Chad has read Soul Reaper dodges. Now the controversy herein lies with that many enemies that can dodge. Now I messaged my boy Soldex and I'm like, dude, so I'm like, yo bro, you awake? Any idea on the dodge rates for the new Senkaimon, like the enemies that are going to be able to dodge? And he goes, hey bro, 80% dodge rate. And I'm like, that's actually stupid. 80% dodge rate is about as bad as it's literally as bad as Transcendent Zone. So if you've ever had an annoying Transcendent Zone enemy, welcome to the club, because like you're gonna learn today, boy. You're gonna learn today. If you don't pull this Chad, you're gonna it's gonna be a lot of RNG to clear these stages, not because your characters aren't good enough, but because you literally don't have reach Soul Reaper dodges. So here, honestly, even though Aizen is perfect for a different stage, even though Aizen is perfect for a different stage, you might want to use him here because Frenzy +2 is going to allow you to get more hits, and more hits with that crazy vortex means that he's going to probably be able to clear better than all these characters except for Chad. So keep in mind, if you have Aizen, great, good for you, because he's going to help out a lot if you don't get this Chad. Next on the list, we do have for stage 15, Burn Immunity, Killer Effect ×3, Espada Affiliation ×2. The perfect unit is going to be Salaporo, but honestly, in my opinion, if you're not using the Salaporo to like just constantly poison these enemies, I believe he has poison. I believe he's, yeah, full on poison. You can use Lacerate or Poison completely. So like, honestly, any character with that, you can cheese out this stage. If you don't want to cheese out the stage, honestly, Grimmjow, Ulquiorra should be completely fine here as well, because Killer Effect is lower than the Espada Affiliation damage ×2. If you're still questioning why you would want to use an Espada over having Killer, is because this is a Killer Effect this is Killer Effect ×3, which is turns a 20% damage increase to 60%. It's not double damage. It's not Killer Effect. It's not Killer damage times blank, right? It's just Killer Effect multiplied. Going to 16, Killer Effect, no affiliation damage. So you want an Arankor killer with no affiliation as their affiliation thing. Keep in mind that if you want to be on attribute against the boss, then you're going to want to use Sanosuke or Shurin. But honestly, since there's no attribute affiliation, there's no like speed affiliation, speed attribute up damage or whatever, honestly, any of these characters should be completely fine. I think Kokuto, Nini, Tsukishima, Ginjo, Quincy Ichigo should be fine, as well as Don Kanonji and Ruke. Like, honestly, this I think is okay. It's just that the dodge it just irks me, because 80% dodge is a lot, man. And at that point, you're going to be resetting, not because, oh man, I'm not skilled enough to beat these enemies fast enough. It's the RNG just isn't there for me, and that in my opinion kind of annoys me. Power attribute damage ×2, no affiliation damage ×2. These is going to be simply for Kokuto. Honestly, since it does say damage for no affiliation units with power attribute, you don't really need Killer, but Killer definitely helps. Yin and Yang, wait, no, Yin and Yang are Soul Reapers? No, they're no affiliation. So Yin and Yang might actually be really good here. Going into power damage. Yeah, if you have like a Max Transcended any of these, I think that they should perform incredibly well. 1 of 5. I'm gonna have to play it to see how it goes. Other than that, I think that this should be a fine. Like, I think the stage should be okay. It's probably gonna be annoying, range resistance, but you can also use Ryukin here, since he does have a Soul Reaper killer, but you might not want to do that. Poison immunity, Killer Effect ×3, Captain Affiliation. Honestly, just here you can just bring Lacerate and Burn on your units. So yeah, Lacerate good with Tensa Zangetsu. Perfect is going to be Yamamoto, so if you pulled Yama, excellent, good for you. If you don't, then honestly this Byakuya should be really, really good here, because you have access to a lot of range collision, lots of Lacerate, lots of hits, and then you also have the barrier to protect yourself. Kenpachi, Mayuri, and Yoruichi, and Soifun, they should be fine. They follow the rule of the Captain Affiliation damage ×2, and like I said, Killer Effect ×3, when it says that, usually you don't have to care about it all that much. It's not going to be that much more damage. It's nice to have, not necessary. Mind attribute damage ×2, human affiliation damage ×2. Now for this one, you're only going to be able to use really Giriko and Chad, which is kind of unfortunate because they just came out this year and they're premium pool units that most people skipped on. Because why would you summon on premium pool units? Oh yeah, Caleb's going to make you want them. But here you also have many enemies that can dodge, which sucks bad too. Oh, you have re-dodge too, don't you? I am now grateful that I pulled this character. He's going to make my life a lot easier. Holy crap. Yeah, but that's unfortunate for people that don't have that. Oh, man. Alright, so that's stage... yeah, it's stage 18. Wait, no, that's not it. That's stage 19. Yeah, so that's going to be stage 19. So even at 19, if you don't have this Giriko, you might have some problems. And that, in and of itself, is going to be trash. Especially considering this is a trash mob stage, right? Alright, stage 20, weaken on the enemies. Excuse me, weaken as a thing on the ground. Espada affiliation only. You want to use a tech unit with Killer Effect ×3. So you definitely want to use a tech unit. You can only use Espadas and if you get killer, you get ×3. This is perfect for Baragon because he doesn't have an Arrancar killer, he has an Espada killer. So ×3 for the Espada killer is actually going to be more than double damage. So keep that in mind. If you have Baragon, definitely want to use him. If you don't, then honestly, Halibel and Stark should be just fine. If you don't have those, then Ulquiorra, Grimmjow, this Grimmjow, honestly, these characters should perform well. You're going to need dupes into this Grimmjow for sure. But I'm interested to see exactly how much Transcendence you need to clear the stages. You'll see here that these enemies each have 1.6 million HP, which can be a problem. It can definitely be a problem. I think that Ulquiorra should be really, really nice here if you got him, but like, I think Halibel should be good because here you get killer damage, right? So you're still getting plus 60% damage, and you're also getting the ×2 damage from the tech. Stage 21, poison, melee resistance, killer effect ×5, and then human affiliation damage ×2. So this is ×2 damage killer, ×2 damage human affiliation. Ginjo, the new Ginjo that just came out, is going to be the way to go. But if you don't have him, honestly, this Orihime is probably going to be the best alternative to that Ginjo, because that human affiliation, Raruka, and Uryu are good. They should be good, but they don't have killer, right? And even though this Orihime doesn't have killer, the fact that she does have lacerate means that you will actually be able to stop him from using his ultimate. And since she's a NAD character, that's also range, and she also has, I believe, what's her first strong attack? I believe she has the 40% magnification. Yeah, since she has the 40% magnification pushback attack, that's actually going to protect her a lot. So you lacerate them, you throw them across the map, wait for them to use their ultimate, and then you continue clapping their cheeks. Going into this one, freeze, range immunity, killer effect ×3, Soul Reaper affiliation damage ×2. This Ginjo is no affiliation because this is Camp for Your Own World, so he had already died, so he's no longer human. For this one, you're actually only able to use Camp for Your Own World Shuhei as a character that has that is a power unit with no affiliation killer, that is also a Soul Reaper. But honestly, like Arbok Ichigo, White Ichigo, and Yoruichi, like these characters are all going to perform incredibly well. Everyone here that has no affiliation killer are going to be exceptional here. So Arbok Ichigo, White Ichigo, Yoruichi, Yamamoto. If you don't have the killer, honestly, just getting the Soul Reaper ×2 damage is better than just going for killer. Because like I said, killer effect ×3 is worse than Soul Reaper affiliation damage ×2. Alright, going into stage 23. This is annoying. Resistance to all status elements again. Killer effect ×5, Espada affiliation damage ×2. Now here the perfect character is going to be the new Stark that came out, but you can also make use of Grimmjow. Keep in mind that the Stark has a squad 0 killer, so that means that he's going to be the quote-unquote go-to. Honestly, I should have expected this. I was wondering why they would make this character to begin with, but honestly, thinking if I thought of Senkaimon, I would have easily made that cut. I would have made that connection. But it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Keep in mind that you do have killer effect ×5, so ×2 damage. Even if you have Soul Reaper killer, this Grimmjow is going to be excellent. So these two are going to be MVPs for this. Unfortunately, when it comes down to it, some of these characters aren't really going to perform as well. Killer effect is Spot affiliation. So definitely these characters should perform incredibly well. Ulquiorra, Grimmjow, Noitora, Aroñero, Salaporo. These characters should be good. Keep in mind, no status ailments are available to be used on the enemies, which sucks. But just being Espada and having killer against these enemies is actually going to help because you get ×4 damage. If you have the squad 0 killer with from that Stark, that's going to come in really, really, really clutch. Next on the list. By the way, if you don't have any of these characters, the Espada affiliation damage, the killer effect, if you have Jugrum, Jugrum actually might be better than some of these other units because even though you can't weaken, you'll be able to get the squad 0 killer and actually get more than double damage. So if you don't have an Espada, but you have Jugrum, I think Jugrum might be able to clear this stage depending on how transcended and link slotted you are. This is the hardest Senkaimon stage that has ever been released. I don't want to say the last Senkaimon stage to come out because they're going to come out with more eventually. But they might be banking on us having T15 characters, max link slotted characters, transcended characters for sure. We'll see how exactly they go about it, but I mean, it is what it is. So here, rules, freeze, and weaken. I don't know how puddle placements are going to be. But killer effect to no affiliation unit, Soul Reaper affiliation damage. So here, honestly, since there's speed, you can also use Art Book Ichigo. This is where you're going to want to use your Art Book Ichigo or your 1000-Year Blood Red Yamamotos, because the later the stage, the more HP they get. Like, how much HP does this girl have? 1.7 million HP. If you go under OK, you get access to Shuhei, Gin, Senna, Kusaka. You definitely want Killer. You definitely want Soul Reaper. That way you deal quad damage, like 4 times damage. Affiliation. If you can't get Killer, definitely get Soul Reaper. The fact that this Gin, Shuhei has Hollow Killer, but the fact that this Gin is no affiliation killer and he's also Soul Reaper, he might actually be really, really good there, despite not having attribute advantage. Like, these characters are blue, so you might deal less damage. You're gonna deal less damage because you're gonna be you're not gonna have attribute advantage, but you will still have the quad damage from the killer and the Soul Reaper affiliation, so I think it'll make up for it. Stage 25, and probably the most cancerous stage, because by now you've gone through 3 stages with dodges. Many enemies that can dodge. Killer effect times 10, no affiliation damage times 3. So killer effect times 10 is insane. So you definitely want Killer, and you definitely want a no affiliation character. So the perfect character for this is actually just Don Kanonji, but the problem is that these enemies can dodge. So like, Don Kanonji having Reed Hollow dodges comes in super, super clutch, so you finally have a real reason for him. But going over here to the OK, Noel, Kokuto, Gin, honestly, like, you're gonna want obviously you're gonna want a no affiliate. No, you're obviously gonna want a Hollow Killer. So Kokuto, Ginzuru, and just Kokuto and the Ginzuru, because you need that, bro. Like, you actually need them to be no affiliation, and you need them to have Killer. If you don't have that, you're missing out on so much damage. But like, these 2 characters, even if you have them max transcended and built up, the fact that the enemies can dodge non-stop means that if you have Don Kanonji, just do your best and do it with Don Kanonji. That will save your life, literally. If you have Soichi, work on her. She's worth it at this point if you know you can get to floor 25. If you don't know if you can clear this Senkaimon tower, please do not attempt it unless you go with the full understanding that you might not be able to clear it. All right, this tower is definitely going to be the hardest tower by far, and since they're actually using Reed blank dodges, that might come in handy. And the problem is that even though you have Reed Hollow dodges from the Don Kanonji here, right, if you use a Reed Hollow dodge, right, I mean, let me click here, let me click Reed Hollow dodge, because you have Ishin, right? Yeah, here we go. So Machine Society Yoruichi, Ishin, as well as Don Kanonji. Even if you use this Yoruichi, the Reed Hollow dodges, you're gonna need her like you're gonna need her high up in terms of transcendence and link slots to really get through this stage. Ishin, since he has Hollow Killer, he might actually be really, really good here as well. Honestly, Yoruichi and Ishin might actually perform incredibly well on this stage. Like, the Reed Hollow dodges is gonna come in clutch, but like, Machine Society Yoruichi literally came out this year, so if you didn't pull her because you only cared about summoning for Machine Society Nemu, for example, you're definitely gonna want this Machine Society Yoruichi. If you have Ishin might actually come in clutch. But I'll be interested to see exactly how they perform on this final stage where the boss has a ton of HP. Fortunately, they do have Killer against the boss, and Reed Hall dodges means that they have Killer, but they're not no affiliation. So they're not getting the times 3 damage from the no affiliation, but if you have Killer effect times 10, you are dealing triple damage. Yeah, you're dealing triple damage straight up off rip. The thing is, Don Kanonji is going to be dealing times 3. He's going to be dealing 9 times damage, whereas Yoruichi and Ishin are going to be dealing times 3 damage, if that makes sense. Because like, everything gets compounded, right? It's just simple math. So if you have Don Kanonji, GG. The Machine Society Yoruichi might be good. 1000-Year Blood War Ishin might be good. Soichi might be good, depending on how RNG works out, whether it be in your favor or not. Personally, I'm going to try with Soichi just to see how she does, because she's a premium pool unit, and she also has a vacuum. She has the Tokinata second strong attack, right? So I want to see how that performs. But if we have to, I'll probably just resort to just using my 1000-Year Blood War Ishin. And I mean, we'll see how it goes. Now, my issue with this Senkaimon honestly comes in the form of just this this many enemies that can dodge. The fact that my boy Soldex literally says that as of right now in the data mine files it's 80%, I think that that's really bad. I'm hoping that K-Lab will take some pity on us. Probably not, but we'll see how it goes. Like we're pretty much getting punished for not summoning on premium pull banners, which really sucks considering that they're not even giving us like 1000-year Blood War reruns or anything like that. That really makes us like excited to summon, or even to some people play the game. Like I know a lot of people that are like just taking a break from the game because there's nothing to do. But I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys grind. I'll catch up with you. Say blessed. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think about this. Like, are y'all as annoyed as this is me? Like, this is new information, right? 80% dodge. That's crazy. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Like, comment, subscribe. If y'all enjoyed this video, have a great day. I'll see y'all next one. Peace.